Welcome to the Law Show Extra. We're continuing to answer all your legal questions at 855-529-7469. We're going to talk to Michael. Michael, you're on the Law Show.
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Good. What can I do for you?
Well, I was recently on a fishing trip in Canada.
Yep.
And one of the local residents thought my son and I were fishing too close to his beach.
Yes.
Which we weren't, but whatever. I'm sure we'll have a difference of opinion there. He was drunk and belligerent, came out in his pontoon with about 7 or 8 people on his pontoon boat, and rammed my boat. Literally rammed, T-boned my boat with his pontoon boat.
Mm-hmm.
Did some damage to my boat, and also I tore a muscle in my back, and I'm probably going to have it repaired by an orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, no.
The question is, can an American... Yeah, it's painful. Can an American citizen sue a Canadian citizen? Because I would at least like to recoup my medical expenses.
Absolutely.
And how would I do that?
Absolutely. What you got to do is you got to get a lawyer that knows how to navigate those waters, no pun intended, and who has experience at handling cases in Canada. And we do that at the Daily Law Firm. We also have a strategic relationship with a firm in Ontario, which is one of the largest personal injury firms in Canada, and we're happy to help you out with that. You may not need to go that far.
This was Northwest Ontario.
Yeah. Was there much of a police report or any kind of a report that was done or any investigation report? Or was this guy cited for anything at all?
Yes, we were out in the middle of nowhere, so it took till the next day till the OPP, I think Ontario something police, came out. But they did come out, and they talked to this guy, and he as much as admitted that he rammed us because he thought we were too close to his beach.
Right. So now
he was issued a citation for reckless boating.
Okay. So here's the thing: this is really, really important. If you're going to pursue him, you're going to have to rely upon his insurance. If there's any allegation that he did this on purpose, as opposed to recklessly in a drunken stupor, then you're going to lose your insurance coverage. So to the extent that you've made any public statements that he did it on purpose, you want to stop making those public statements and recognize that you don't know what was in his mind at the time he did this, but you do know that he was drunk and belligerent, okay? He probably just meant to drive real close and scare you, and he was so drunk, he ran into you. So I'm happy to help you out, and I'd love to talk to you about this after the show a bit more in detail and get some more information from you so that we can pursue this for you. When did this happen?
Let's see, it was the 28th of July.
And what is the muscle in your back that was torn?
Basically my left tenderloin, for lack of a better explanation.
That's got to be a bad injury, man. I'll bet that hurts.
Yeah, it does. I've got some medication from my doctor for muscle relaxers and pain relief, but if that doesn't take care of it, which I don't know, I'm going to have to see an orthopedic surgeon. Right.
So let me ask you this: Do you work, or are you self-employed, or how's that all work?
I work. I work at O'Hare.
Have you lost any time from your job?
No, I haven't.
Do you expect to?
Possibly, yeah, depending on how this works out.
Okay. All right, well, listen, did you give Dave my call screener your telephone number?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I'm going to call you back after the show, but it'd be nice. Do you have any photographs of any of this stuff, or do you have a copy of the OPP report?
I do not have a copy of it yet, but I do have the report number.
Okay, so if you could send me an email, brian@thelawshow.com.
Okay.
BRIAN@thelawshow.com. And send me that information. That'd be great, with your contact information, because I'd like to get on top of this right away.
Okay.
All right.
We'll do that.
Very good. Thank you for calling the Law Show.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, we're going to continue answering all your legal questions at 855-529-7469. We're going to talk to Beverly now. Beverly. Ooh.
I'm calling. Good morning, first of all. I'm calling for information. My husband fell and broke his hip in November 2010.
Yes.
In March, it started hurting, and his foot started turning inward. Now, he complained to the doctor about his foot and that it was hurting. Doctor sent him back to physical therapy. Well, the weekend before Mother's Day, his entire right leg swelled up from the hip all the way to the toes. As a matter of fact, it swelled so the toes popped, the skin on the toes. And they took him back to surgery, and what had transpired was that the 3 screws that they put in to heal the break,
Yes.
The center one broke and sheared off and backed out. And they had to replace all of that. They took the bone out and put a hip replacement in.
Huh.
My question is, I've consulted a couple of lawyers, and nobody ever calls me back. Why?
Well, they're just not good lawyers. So thank God you know that now, and not after they've started your case. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
But let me ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
What caused your husband to fall in the first place?
He has severe neuropathy, we've come to find out, and he had bent over to pick something up off the floor, and body just kept going.
Well, that's certainly unfortunate. Do you happen to know, did they first do a internal fixation, open reduction internal fixation? In other words, they did surgery to try to repair the hip joint?
Say again, sorry.
The first surgery they did was to try to repair the broken hip, not to replace the hip, right?
Right, correct.
Okay, and now they've replaced the hip.
Yes.
Okay. It's not necessarily unexpected that when you put hardware into a moving part, and a hip is a moving part, that it will sometimes break or back out or cause other troubles. It's often the case that hip repairs don't work very well, and they end up having to replace the hip. Now, they don't want to replace the hip right away because there's too many complications with that. And if you can avoid that by doing an initial surgery to try to replace it, then that's a much less risky way to go. And normally you're going to find doctors support each other in that. And that's the point I'm trying to make. In order to sue somebody for malpractice, you have to find a doctor that's willing to say that malpractice was committed. In other words, that the work that was done was below the standard of care. Or you may have a product liability case involving whether or not the screws were defective and were allowed to come back out. It's not.
Well, here's the thing I left out, and I'm sorry I left it out. During after the second surgery,
yes,
a nurse in the not emergency room, in the recovery room, brought those screws to me in a plastic bag and told me that I wanted them.
You had not asked for them before?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
She closed my hand around the bag and said, "You want these?"
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I want to know more about your case. You may have a case, you may not, but let's take a little closer look at it. Do you have access to email?
Yes, I do.
All right. I'd like you to send me an email with your contact information. My email is Brian, Brian, at thelawshow.com.
Okay.
Okay? Send me all your contact information. Okay. Send me some information about this case and the dates when it all happened, and then I'll get back with you, okay?
Sure thing.
Thanks for calling The Law Show.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too. We're going to talk to John now. John, you're on The Law Show.
Hey, Brian, how are you today?
Good. What can I do for you?
Brian, my daughter's engaged to a gentleman who, let's just say he's not my favorite, but
wait a minute. Hold on.
Child support,
I'm a dad with a daughter.
Lots of stuff in his past. Is there a way I can get somebody to make a prenuptial for my daughter so she's not held responsible for any of this guy's past doings?
Well, I don't think he would be. She wouldn't be responsible for anything that he did in the past. What do you think, Deborah?
Yeah, no, not for anything he did in the past, but might be a good idea to have a prenup.
Does your daughter have a lot of money? Do you have a lot of money to protect or assets or anything like that?
I have a lot of money to protect personally.
Okay. What about your daughter?
One of my heirs.
What about your daughter?
Her personally, no. She has nothing.
All right. She probably doesn't need a prenup right now, but if there's a chance that she's going to come into some money, then she's going to need a prenup. Okay? And so what I'd recommend that you do is sit down and talk with a lawyer that's got experience in putting together prenups. And Deborah, of course, does that. But you know what? There's a lot of lawyers in Chicago that have the same kind of experience. If you'd like to meet with Deborah and talk to her about it, she'd be happy to sit down and talk with you, or go to somebody else. But talk to them first to find out if it works. Now, is your daughter on board with this? Because what I found out, I'm a dad with 2 daughters, and there's nobody that I would ever approve to get involved with them. That's just the way I am.
Yeah, my daughter is.
But my daughters often are not on
talked to
board
her
with
about
what I
this in the
want for
past,
them.
and she's in full agreement that, you know. See, also there's another ringer in the thing. My second daughter's disabled.
Okay.
We have a special needs trust that we've set up through an attorney to protect my other daughter, but
Yep.
I also want to try to protect my other daughter too, because she's had some issues in her life too, mental illness, that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're doing everything right at this point. You're being careful about your legal issues. You're doing what I always admonish people to do, and that is if you have the slightest inkling of a legal issue in your life, get to a lawyer right away. You've got a special needs trust set up. You seem like you're fairly well informed and savvy about the legal, about planning your legal options in life. But why don't you call Deborah during the regular business hours and sit down and talk with her about a prenup? Deborah, what do you
I'd
think?
love to.
Deborah?
Well, I'd be happy to meet with you. Just give me a call, and we'll set something up soon.
Okay.
Okay. How do I get your phone number?
You just call the phone number, 855-LAW-SHOW, and we'll connect you with Deborah.
Beautiful.
Call during regular business hours, or you can always email her, Deborah, at dailylawyers.com.
Sounds great.
Okay. Thanks for calling the Law Show.
Thank you very much, Brian. Have a nice day.
You're welcome. We're going to talk to Nancy next. Nancy, you're on the Law Show.
Okay, this is kind of an odd question. I went into the hospital last Sunday, and I was released on Thursday afternoon. Okay, I came home. Yesterday afternoon, I received a phone call, and they said they were from a health organization or something, and they wanted the money for the hospital bill, which I know had to be scam because it goes through Medicare and Blue Cross and, you know. But the only thing is they knew the exact time I was released from the hospital, and they knew my security number.
Did you get a phone number?
So I went and called. I don't have caller ID. I went and I called the hospital, and I talked to a patient advocate, and she told me to file a police report for like identity theft.
Okay. Well, that's really all you can do at this point. You have to be careful about...
Because, I mean, I wasn't going to give them any money.
Well, good. Don't ever give anybody money that calls you on the phone or sends you an email
Yeah,
and
because
says...
all bills have to go through Medicare and Blue Cross.
Yep.
But to me, I told her it sounded like somebody that worked at the hospital and knew the exact time I was released and knew my Social Security number.
Yep, and that's probably what it was. So you did the right thing. I want you to make sure you don't do that again. So thanks for calling the Law Show. We're going to talk to Santos about child support now. Santos, you're on the Law Show.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm calling for my daughter. Child support for her son is running out. He's 18 years old now.
Yes.
But she wants to see if he can get him to help with the college that she wants to go to.
Okay.
Does she have the right to do something like that or not?
Deborah.
Yes, she does. Does she live in Illinois?
Chicago, Illinois.
Perfect. Sure she does. I've been in court this week several times. In every courtroom, there were several people asking for help for college tuition, and the judge ordered it every single time. So,
okay.
Absolutely, she's entitled to it. She's got to hurry, though. They don't do it retroactively. So you need to get into court right away. When does she start school?
Well, he's going into a senior school this year.
Oh, she's a senior now. Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, so
well,
right about it.
All right. Well, we still need to get into court and get the order. If she when she knows what college she's going to and what the cost will be.
Yeah, and the thing is there any low-cost lawyers? Because I can't help her, I'm a retired senior.
Well, you can get lawyers all over the place, but you usually get what you pay for. We're not the most expensive. We're not the least expensive, but we are the best. Okay?
So you mean they could contact you for this?
Yep, we give free consultations, so she won't pay anything until she comes in and signs a fee agreement with us. Okay? She can sit down and talk with us for as long as she wants. And in fact, there's a lot of time now. You've got almost a year before you have to bring this motion, maybe sooner, but it gives you time to plan how much money is going to be needed, what you're going to do, and then you can ask for a multiple-year order. All right?
Okay.
Thanks for calling the Law Show.
So where can she come to make an appointment to talk to you?
Well, she's got to start by calling us first at 855-LAW-SHOW during regular business hours and ask for Deborah Crane, okay?
Deborah?
Crane, just like the bird.
Okay. And the number is 8229-7469?
It's 855-LAW-SHOW.
But 529...
7469. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling the Law Show. Thank you, Deborah.
Welcome.
Enjoy the day.